Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Howdy.
Gabe, welcome to the show. It's the Duluth Conservative, where we actually show that there are some conservatives in Minnesota. I know there's a lot of us. A lot of them don't want to show their face, but we're going to have this show, and we've got a chock full of stuff to talk about today. So I'm going to run down what we're going to talk about in case you don't want to watch the whole thing. You can go kind of find out what we're talking about. So today, what we're going to talk about is start with Duluth, and we're going to talk about how we're going to have less transparency in the emails being sent to Duluth City Council. We're going to talk about the Grandma's Marathon selling out, Duluth Superintendent of Schools charged with DWI, and a little bit about why BlackRock wants your power. And let's see, the Ministerial Mystery Project identified as a data center. I think we talked about that before, but we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about the special session in Minnesota. We'll talk about a new film about the downfall of Minnesota that's airing tonight at 7 o'clock. Some immigration fraud in Minnesota. Some DEI hiring that's going on in Minnesota. Feds talking about us violating Title IX in Minnesota. Convicted sex offender accused of posing a high school student at a football team. That's a fantastic one I didn't see before. Let's see, $730 million for using a building for the Minnesota House. Operation Twin Shield, which found 275 cases of suspected immigration fraud in Minnesota. Our Minnesota health insurance costs to increase 22%. Trump tries to give Omar back to Somalia, and they said no thanks. Man pleads guilty for attempting to travel to Minnesota to Somalia to join ISIS. And then we're going to talk about pilot program to catch with cameras to catch speeders. We've talked about this before, and I think they've shot it down before. We'll talk about it again, I guess. National news. We'll talk about the federal government shutdown. The woman who shot Ford dies. ICE arrests illegal aliens employed as Iowa superintendent. The number of agents, FBI agents that were in January 6th insurrection, if you want to call it that. Kamala Harris spouting lies about the election, armed security guards sneaking past Secret Service, World Health Organization laws being used over USA laws in Illinois. We're going to talk about how the media lies about the Trump prosecution, but Comey is not bad, or vice versa. Trump prosecution was good, but Comey, that's a threat to democracy. Talk about securing cash. Talk about the ADL designating Turning Point USA as an extremist group and then getting rid of their list altogether, which was an interesting thing. $94 million in grants to protect Jewish faith-based organizations in the United States. Our tax dollars being funneled by the Biden administration to Washington University. The city of Philadelphia flying a Chinese flag. Ice Cube's tour bus firebombed because it had the word ice on it. A little thing about Joy Reid and how she really doesn't like it here, but doesn't leave. And now we're into international news. Like a man gets 2 years for a Facebook comment. We'll go over it here. La Diabla was arrested. Canada takes it 1 year before owning guns is illegal, but it's a voluntary buyback program. Digital ID traveling to Europe, and then we'll finish with health and fitness. So having said all that, that took me how long?
4
How long
minutes.
we've been on the air now?
Yeah, 4.5 minutes.
5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be I swear we'll go through these fast.
Yeah, buckle up. It'll be a long evening. So.
Buckle up. I hope you got the coffee on for tomorrow because it's going to be a long night.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about go back to Duluth and talk about less transparency for the emails sent to the Duluth City Council. So the Duluth City Council, when they received emails, these things were blasted out. They would send them off to the media. They'd send them off to other people. It was right there on the website saying, hey, when you send an email to a city councilor, it's basically public knowledge.
Yeah,
now we've got this new city administrator we just got this year. After serving 29 years in St. Cloud, that jewel of the Nile there in St. Cloud and all their problems. Well, this guy has said, no, we got to get rid of that. And here's how he elegantly described it. It was stupid. I am 100% comfortable with the decision we made. It's not only safer, but it's right. You know, that's a great argument. It's just right.
Yeah.
It's the thing to do. So I'm in agreement with some of the city councilors I'm typically not in agreement with here. Your watcher, I don't know her that well. So I've only known one thing she did, and I would disagree with it. And Anwal, who I've disagreed with plenty of times, but they're basically saying, what's the problem here? It's openness. It's why is this bad thing? Why is it bad to be open? So I disagree with this city administrator. I don't know what his angle is on this and why it's such a horrible thing, but I think communications to the government, if they're told that they're going to, you should assume, let's put it this way, you should assume if you send something to a politician, that's open. That's not a private conversation. So I disagree. But what do you think, Dave?
Well, we could relate it. We could relate it to a couple of stories right now that we're going to talk about because they've been dealing with BlackRock and Minnesota Power. The city has, so we should know about that. The city of Hermantown is doing the data center. And they held that in privacy forever until it just came out a few weeks ago. And so now the protesters are getting, but if those emails would have been open, we would have known about it right away because the public should know about, public things. If you're going to build a 2 million square foot building in Hermantown, you should know about it. The public should know about it. And so it all comes back to basically the same thing as, what are you hiding?
Mm-hmm.
If you're intentionally trying to hide something?
Right. I didn't hear the argument that said, here's why it's a good idea. I just heard it's stupid not to, and it's the right thing to do. That's not an argument. That's a childish argument. That's what a kid comes up with an argument. So, and that you make a really good point. It is the way that things have been working around here. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. They're trying to get a special session going, but how are they doing that? Behind closed doors. They're doing all the negotiation of what's going to happen and how it's going to turn out before they actually let loose our representatives who are supposed to be involved with it, but they're not. Just the leadership is.
Yep.
It's a really good point. Why is this getting so tied down? We should be more open. Everything should be more open. And it's easy to be open. And it's not like they're asking them to be open. They're already open and you're closing it down for absolutely no good reason that I can tell.
Yeah. Are we going to save $4 billion by shutting it down?
Are we going to save anything?
We're not going to save
shutting it down. Nothing.
Yeah. This is one person hitting a button and sharing it with people.
Right. And it actually makes it probably is going to cost us more money because now they're going to have to go through Freedom of Information Act to get anything.
Right.
So, I tell you what, if you're writing a letter to the city councilor, CC, I don't like Star or Duluth News Tribune, but CC them on it.
Right.
And it's public. All right,
Absolutely.
We'll go on, and I want to share this. Grandma's Marathon has sold out. Everything sold out in less than 12 hours. So the half marathon, which usually goes the quickest, sold out in 75 minutes. The 5K went out in 106 minutes. And then the full marathon, this one really blew my mind. That sold out in 12 hours. And so when we ran this back in 2018, I think it was.
The half, yeah.
And we knew people that went the day before the marathon. They couldn't get in the half marathon, but they got an entry into the full marathon. And now and I think the half marathon was selling out, like a month and a half. The half marathon would sell out. Right. Now, hour and a half. That's crazy. And it's a lot of people too. It's 7,000 people.
Yeah, 7,000 half, 9,000 full. I don't know. It's like 3,000 or 4,000 for the 5K. It's a lot of people.
1,500 for the 5K.
1,500. Yeah.
Now, some people that run the marathon or the half marathon also run the 5K.
Yeah, because that's so much fun.
Some people use it as a warm up, I guess. It's only 3 miles, right? So it's not like 26.
Right.
So it's June 20th. It'll be a big deal down here, and we'll cover it when it comes. I got another one. So we got a Duluth superintendent pled guilty to a DWI charge. And I've said this before, getting a DUI is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's not good. You shouldn't be driving when you're drunk. It's not like I'm supporting it. I'm just not saying that this should end this guy's career. But unfortunately, he got pulled over, but he was, they changed it now to 0.8 for a blood alcohol count. When we were back in high school, and I remember it was 0.1. This guy was riding with a 0.12. So he was well over the limit.
Yeah.
And I guess the big problem is that he works for the school. He's an assistant superintendent of schools. So not the best thing. So as a normal person, that's one thing. When you're working in the government or working for the school system, that's not a good look.
Did he lose his job? Because I read the article, but it didn't say if he lost his job or not. Do you know?
I don't see anything about him. 60-day jail sentence was saved for a year. The court was informed that he had already completed a substance use assessment and attended a Mothers Against Drunk Driving victim impact panel. And he has remained on the job.
Oh, so
as district policy does not allow an employee to be terminated or placed on leave for DWI unless it occurs during work hours, involves a student, or impacts driver requirements. I can see that. I mean, it's not really your business what he does outside of law.
And this is where we might disagree, but he should have got fired because they fired the East football coach a few years ago. He had some alcohol in him, but he wasn't drunk. He didn't get a ticket. He didn't get arrested. He didn't, nothing. He just had alcohol on him when he was on school grounds, and he wasn't working at the time. And they fired him anyways.
Yeah, I can see your point. I can also see that this guy wasn't on school grounds. But yeah, it's a squishy thing. They should be consistent at least.
Right. They need to be consistent, and an actual alcohol charge you should lose your job over it.
Yeah.
Where the East football coach, he was on school grounds, but he wasn't drunk. He didn't break any laws.
Yeah. I think zero tolerance policies are pretty bad to begin with. I mean, it's for adults. It's not illegal for him to drink. He wasn't drunk and he was on school. Yeah. So I don't agree with him being fired. I don't agree with this guy getting fired either. But to your point, if they fired him, why did this guy get through?
Correct. And there need to be some consistency. So
yeah, that's
the main thing.
We'll move on because we got, 75 other things to talk about, but I will post a link here. We're not going to talk about it too much more, but it's a pretty good article about why BlackRock wants to buy your power. And it was a little bit of a mystery to me, but then I realized once I found out the Hermantown data center project was in play, that's why BlackRock wants to buy your power. That's one of the reasons, because they are going to screw us over. I mean, it is going to be bad. So if this goes through with BlackRock, you can just anticipate your energy bills are going to go way up and your quality is going to go probably down.
Yeah, because they built one outside of Memphis for what I was reading, and the locals, their electric bill went up 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's, so that kind of leads in with the BlackRock buying and why because they know that demand's going to be there, therefore they can raise prices. So that's going to be that's going to be such a bonus to people on fixed income. Another state tax, basically.
I was talking about it before in that we should investigate an AI center here, a data center in Duluth. But part of that deal has to be power. They have to provide the power, and we should be, as citizens who live near it, should be benefiting from it, not paying more for it. So you come up with a generator power, somehow to generate power, or you're going to pay for it so that we get a discount on our power because we're allowing you to come and bring your data center here. And I can't imagine a data center being able to use the power we have right now because I think we're underpowered as a state. We don't have the grid. We don't have the infrastructure. Duluth is pretty good. We got pretty good infrastructure for power, but outside the area, I don't think it's as good. So if you're going to have a data center, I hope part of the deal is we've figured out how power is going to be consumed at the data center so that not only doesn't cost you more money, but it actually reduces your power in the area. And that if the people working on it are good negotiators, they will have thought of that. So my hope is our representatives represent us in that way.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but
you don't have any faith.
No. And part of the Hermantown story was, now that it finally came out, because there was no transparency in Hermantown, that the people are starting to build coalitions to put a stop to it because of the annual energy use of 3,600 houses, annual emissions in the ballpark of 35,000 tons. It says it brings zero jobs, zero investment, zero benefit to the port, but there's obviously going to be jobs. There's going to be temporary construction jobs. But back to your point, that's why BlackRock wants to take over Minnesota Power.
Yeah, that's exactly why BlackRock wants it.
Because they know it's going to make a lot of money for them.
Right. So. And if they're having this deal in Hermantown for the data center, I know our state reps have to be involved with it. And we should be having people coming out and telling us what they've thought of and so you come up with the deal and say, okay, we know emissions is going to be a concern. Here's how we're dealing with it. We know power is going to be a concern. Here's how we're dealing with it. And instead of getting a protest group together, I hope they've done the diligence to try to figure out what the answers are to those questions first. Have they asked those questions yet? Or are they just doing what lots of people do, is just put a sign together and go walk outside and complain about things?
Yeah, and then that leads us back to our original story about Duluth lacking transparency. Well, Hermantown buried this so that there was zero transparency. Therefore, they can get the permits through before people can start protesting.
Yeah.
So, if Hermantown had an open government or transparent government, you would have been able to figure this out prior to it being, maybe it's okay, but we don't know until, but we need some time to figure it out instead of them just jamming it down our throats and, okay, here you go.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contact the representatives and find out some of the answers to these questions. And then we'll talk about it next week if they get an answer from them.
Yeah, which I know people that have contacted them and they can't get through to them or get answers.
Well, you know why I'm doing it? Because I'm your Huckleberry and I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about transparency. The special session. So I don't know if everybody knows about this, but we had that school shooting and the governor's Walz said we need to have a special session. We should talk about having a special session to talk about what to do about it. Now, I've talked about this before. The Democrats will come in with the one solution they always have because they have one arrow in their quiver. We're going to ban guns. But I'm going to take this out for a second. They're going to go in saying we need to ban guns, but I wish they would go in with the second option. And I hope, and what it looks like is happening, the Republicans are going in and saying, that's not an option, come up with something else.
Right.
And the thing that's bothering me about this, so that's a good thing. I like that. But the thing that's bothering me is that they're doing this behind closed doors. This is where our representatives are supposed to represent us as a state. This is why we have this whole House and Senate. The governor just cherry picks and tries to get two people in the room because he can't handle a big session because he knows he'll lose.
Right.
And he tries to get everything in line before the special session can start. And then he can say he made progress. Well, it's not working this time. He did it last time for the budget, and they were able to do that because the leadership had been talking. They've been talking about this for months about what they wanted to do. So leadership can go in there with their opinions. They don't have that here. They haven't been talking about this. So I don't like the idea that government is being run behind closed doors and it's being as little transparency as possible is happening.
Yeah,
but they did do it. They did talked to the leaders, and it lasted like 5 minutes. And it's a very distinct thing. The Democrats want an undefined list of gun bans. They want the Republicans to agree to it. And I would like them, instead of banning guns and coming forward with this yet again, is to say, let's look at the root cause maybe. Who are the people and who are the targets of this? And maybe there's a different thing that we can do. So hopefully they can do that. But I hope the Republicans stand firm. I'm pretty proud of them for going in there and saying, no, that's not happening. I heard something that said that, when you talk to liberals or talk to people who don't like guns, they say guns are used for killing people and murder and all this other stuff. And when you talk to conservatives, they're like, guns are for hunting and home defense. And it seems like the reason people think of that way is because that's how they use them.
Right.
So I hope the Republicans stay strong. And Lisa DeMuth is a great person. I've talked to her before. I really like her. So she's pretty strong. I like her as a leader. So she's doing a good job.
Yeah, I just find it crazy that the Democrat they really want to ban guns unless it's killing a Charlie Kirk or another conservative, and then they're all for. Then they don't say anything about.
They don't say anything,
guns.
Right?
Yeah, they celebrate the fact that someone used a gun.
That's just sick.
Yeah, it's pretty tiring. So,
okay, I'm going to move on to. We're going to go to Minnesota news. We don't have any Tim Walz specific news tonight. I want to talk about.
He was a moron in private this last week. So,
I'm beginning to think you don't like Tim.
I don't know if I've yet to meet anyone that likes the guy. So,
yeah. Oh, Kamala Harris does. Oh wait, I don't think she does.
No, she doesn't like him either. He was like 5th choice, and
we'll have to talk about Kamala and her choices at some point. Maybe when we go down to that story down below.
Right.
I want to talk about this documentary that's going to air at 7:00 on WDIO. So if you're watching, I don't like it if you leave, but if you want to go watch this thing, it looks like a really good show. I'm going to pop it up here real quick. If I can find it.
It's on broadcast TV.
It is on broadcast TV. It's going to be at 7:00 tonight. And I won't play the trailer, but I will put the link up here. But really, it talks about the city of what's happening in Minnesota and what's happening in the Twin Cities. And I saw the trailer. So if you get a chance, watch the trailer. It's really good. But it's talking about all the vacancies down in Minneapolis. They sold an office building for basically $5 a square foot. The guy's like, you can't carpet this place for $5 a square foot.
Right.
People are fleeing. They're talking about the wealth fleeing this state. And it's a big difference. I mean, it's a flip-flop of a couple, like $5 billion, I think, in assets going away from this state. And it's because of the crime. They're going to cover that in this documentary. So WDIO tonight at 7:00. Check it out. It looks really good. If you don't check it out there, I'm sure it'll be aired some other way. But you can go here to a precarious state and you can watch the trailer. Let's just do it. Premieres in 34 minutes. So I think you can go to this website too and watch it. I want to do a shot for that. I know other people have been talking about this. I hope it's one of those things that you want to watch, but you kind of dread watching at the same time. It's telling you everything that you know, but nobody's talking about. And the media around Minnesota won't talk about it either.
No, because the chief editor of the Star Tribune used to work for Walz, so he's going to bury all the stories
like they've been doing for years.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to bring on our sponsor, Tim Walz for governor.
I've been to every corner of Minnesota, and there's nothing like it.
See those maps? Red and blue, and there's all that red across there, and Democrats go into depression over it. It's mostly rocks and cows that are in that red area.
I've seen how we help each other through the hard times. But I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times. But it's in these moments We have to come together.
I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. You bully the shit out of him.
And I'll never stop fighting to protect us from the chaos, corruption, and cruelty coming out of Washington.
Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner.
May his fat ankles find something today.
We do not have the luxury to fight amongst ourselves while that thing sits in the White House.
We can't lose hope because I've seen what we can do when we work together.
Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat.
Cutting taxes for the middle class,
However, there are also taxes going up for most Minnesotans.
while also making the largest investments in public safety.
One of the few tweets we've had from any kind of official source tonight, and in my opinion, that is inexcusable. We have reached out to the governor, to the mayor of St. Paul, to the mayor of Minneapolis, both police chiefs. We are getting no response tonight.
We've raised graduation rates to the highest ever.
Most Minnesota students are falling behind state standards in math, and only about 50% of students are proficient in reading.
Crack down on fraud and protect our tax dollars.
Bribes, falsified records, and taxpayers charged to help dead people find housing.
Thousands of dollars for work that's not being done.
Fake meetings,
They just billed us for nothing.
forged names,
I did not sign this legal document.
homeless veterans,
I never met any of these people.
dead people billed, phantom services.
For that 14,000, you got what?
Nothing.
Now I'm hitting the road to listen to you and talk about our future.
What's wrong is our country's being stole by fascists and Nazis, and we're trying to do all we can to try and do it.
There you go. Our sponsor for tonight. I don't know why he wants to sponsor our show, but he did. So
Yeah. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. Yeah. What a knucklehead.
we're a knucklehead. All right. Let's see. Immigration fraud in Minnesota. There is an interesting thing going on where it said nearly half of all immigrants in the Minneapolis-St. Paul Twin Cities were found to have committed some sort of immigration fraud. So this is what our guy, Keith Ellison, should be looking at, but he's not. I'm going to share this tweet with you. What do they call it now? It's not a tweet anymore, is it?
No. I guess I don't know. Because it's an X.
It's an
I
X.
haven't heard what the new word replacement word for tweet is.
This is called, I have another link to it down here. I'm sorry about this. It's called Operation Twin Shield. And I'll do the Alpha News cover of it. So let me just pop, oops. Bear with me, please. All right. Nope. I think my wife's telling me, get your act together. Here it is. Alpha News. Operation Twin Shield uncovers 275 cases of suspected immigration fraud in Minnesota. So I urge you to read this by Alpha News. It goes into great detail, but it's talking about how people are marrying their relatives, they're falsifying documents, they're not showing up anywhere, that people don't exist. It's crazy. And the Biden administration was behind it with the full support of some of the people in politics here in Minnesota. I won't name names on that because I don't have any proof of it directly, but I will say this can't just happen. There's people higher up that were committing fraud. They're being investigated now. But we need to stop this because Minnesota is becoming a joke around the country for the amount of fraud that we have. I think we've become like Illinois or Detroit. And it says that in that documentary that's playing at 7:00 tonight. He's saying, yeah, look at Detroit. Look at Baltimore. That's what we're going to become. This corrupt place.
Yeah. We hire, how many employees does the state hire and they're not doing their jobs?
Yeah.
If we force the, all these agencies to release all of their emails, actually be transparent. Maybe we'd find some of this stuff that they're not finding or they're intentionally not finding.
Right. Not make it less transparent, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
They're just basically just hiding the fact that they're a bunch of morons and they're not doing their job correctly,
Yep. All right. Here we got another one. We have a state DHS, Department of Homeland, or Department of Health Services, right?
Yep.
Tells the GOP senator she won't rescind racist hiring policy. And this is the one where we talked about where you have to justify hiring somebody if they're not part of a so-called protected minority.
Yeah.
So it's rules for some people and not rules for other. And when we talked about it before, it's systemic racism has been implemented into the government now. It wasn't there before, but now it is in there. And it's this kind of stuff. And this person should be fired that is refusing to abide by the laws. And maybe they're going to lose their federal funding because of it.
Well, yeah, because Trump put in, he signed an executive order saying that has to stop.
Right.
So
or they'll lose federal funding, right?
Yeah. So she's breaking federal law right now. So, or that person is. I don't, if it's male or female, but.
And then on kind of a similar note, state agency hiring DEI consultant positions worth up to $100,000. I think there's 2 positions here. Oh, it's Minnesota Department of Health. Hey, check that out.
Yeah.
I think there's a trend here. Seems like that agency needs to be cleaned out a little bit. Start working for everybody. Get out.
Right. Follow the laws like everybody else has to.
So there was another, I got a lot of Alpha News stuff. I must have been browsing that site at the time I did this. There is somebody that worked for, I'll post this thing. An HR director, and he worked for Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. So he had sent Alpha News this pretty scorching letter. That's not why he was fired. He goes onto Facebook and he was calling white people morally bankrupt and inherently racist and liars. Probably not a good look for your government position, though. Sorry. And so
not like his boss.
But he was, he's pretty clear that he didn't care what happened to him.
Yeah. Well,
most of these white folks are crazy. Moral disposition is aligned with that of a honey badger. Ooh, honey badgers are kind of cool, though.
Yeah, true.
Because honey badgers don't care. So yeah, it's another one of these things where it's like, hey, if you've not heard of this, if you're watching the show and you've not heard of this, this is why we're doing this show, because you won't see this anywhere. I didn't see this in the Duluth News Tribune at all.
No,
I didn't see this on the other Minnesota sites I go to. We see it at Alpha News, though, and it's important to see this kind of stuff to get a different view that things aren't as cut and dry as they seem in Minnesota. It's very like this liberal paradise, and everything's absolutely great, but it's not. Watch Crime Watch, watch these things. You're going to see some stuff that you didn't know before. Another one being that the federal government has told Minnesota that it has violated Title IX by allowing males to compete in a female sport. So Title IX was put in place because the boys' sports, which were popular, were getting all the funding, but they didn't have any funding for girls' sports. So they decided to even it out so that the girls had just as much money as the boys, so they can compete in their own leagues and their own ways, which then leveled the playing field. There was a lot more stuff. When we were going to school, they were implementing this so that we were seeing, we never had a girls' high school or girls' hockey team, for example, growing up. But then they came in after us. The girls' basketball team had been started before us, the volleyball team. There was lots of equity going on with that, with boys and girls both had funding for each one. Now they want to put boys into the girls' sports, and that's the sticking point. This is now mixing basically what was girls' sports, mixing it with boys and girls. And that's the problem with it.
Right.
And the federal government said, don't do that. And the Minnesota is saying, well, we don't care what you have to say. So this is coming to a head now. And when people talk about it, they talk about getting laws together to ban the boys from being in girls' sports and so forth. I would like to think we don't need laws like that. If you're a legislator, we don't need to have a law saying they can't be in there because it just doesn't happen.
Right.
If a boy goes into a girl's sports and they allow it in the school, all the girls leave that sport. Unfortunately, that's kind of like a poison pill, right? They lose their sport because they don't want to compete with this guy. But I don't see any other way to do it. I think it comes down to the girls that have to play in there and the parents of those girls speaking out against this stuff as opposed to trying to legislate all this stuff. I wouldn't be opposed to a law saying they couldn't join the girls' teams, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it should be necessary. What you should be doing as a legislator is stopping any laws that say they have to play against these. They have to include the boys in there. That's what I disagree with completely.
Right. Yeah. Because it's one, it's a safety thing. Two, it's, now they're saying the girls have to change in front of the guys.
Yeah.
In the locker rooms.
Right.
That's government forced pedophilia, basically.
And they're shaming these girls to say that they're bad people for not being okay with this.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. In high school, you shouldn't be thinking about that. And in grade school, that should absolutely not be a thing. When we were in grade school, they had mixed teams. It wasn't a boys or girls. It was just intramural. It was girls. Not a lot of girls were in basketball, but there were.
Right.
And we played against them. It's not a big deal, but we didn't share a locker room with them.
Right.
And that would have been uncomfortable for us and uncomfortable for them. But it becomes dangerous for them in high school. The girls. I wouldn't want my kids in there. I wouldn't want my grandkids in there. And I don't know why somebody would push for that. And if they say that's not a danger, they're either just blind to the facts, stupid, or lying. It's one of those. You can't. I'll take the words of that city guy. It's just stupid. It's just right,
Right.
But I can give you an argument why it's right.
Yeah, and that's why there's so many people going to private schools nowadays, especially Catholic private schools, because they're not going to allow that. They don't allow that. They won't even compete against another team with a boy on it because they know it's unsafe and unfair.
But trust me, they're trying to force the Catholic schools to do that too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And kind of a case in point with our next story here, a White Bear Lake, 22-year-old man at White Bear Lake posed as a high school student and then exposed himself to a teenager there. So I'm not going to put his picture up, but
he was convicted earlier and then he came back. But if he was convicted for sending explicit images to a 15-year-old. So he went back to high school. So he was going into you're basically feeding the lion, the wolves to the chickens or whatever you want to call it. So they're sending him, they're allowing it because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
There's no reason this kid should have been out.
No.
In 2023, he was sending explicit photos to a 15-year-old. That's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He's out.
And he already went back to a high school and they couldn't figure out that he didn't belong there. Once again, another government agency that isn't doing their job, isn't checking what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, I know one government agency that's doing its job. It's the Democrats who voted for $730 million to construct a Minnesota house that's used 3 to 5 months a year.
Yeah.
So State Representative Kristen Robbins went there, and I know other representatives have gone there and talked about. Natalie Zalesnikar has talked quite a bit about this. $730 million for an office building for people who are there 4 days a week, 3 to 5 months a year.
Yeah.
And it is they call it the Taj Mahal. They call it a palace. And so we're, Minnesota, we're working 2 to 3 jobs. We're trying to struggle to pay our property taxes, which are outrageous, our health insurance, our energy costs. But thank God, $730 million extra money laying around to do a renovation on this office building. I'm sure it's going to be gorgeous, but that's what we used to spend on stadiums. So I'm going to post a link to that. But that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, where are these people now? I mean,
right, they're home.
They're already, but they already have an office. So why are they redoing, spending more money on office?
Well, they've got them in a temporary location now. It's kind of like when they closed Central. They had to take all the Denfeld kids and put them in Central because that school could actually hold everybody while they renovated Denfeld to close down the school that could already take them. Spend millions on renovating Denfeld to then close down the newest school in the area in the best location so they could tear it down and pay for a housing that will never show up.
Yeah. So now we have Duluth East and Duluth Denfeld that don't have parking.
Yeah.
Where Duluth Central did and could be expanded to have a parking lot.
They had to literally swap the middle school and the high school to get more parking area during this whole thing too.
Yeah,
all this motion on each side, and Central is sitting there going, yeah, we can take more people. It's not a problem. Just bring them up. We have the facilities, we have the parking. It's a nice area. Let's close that down.
And if you go to either high school during the day, you'll notice that the side streets are all filled with cars because there's no place to park. Good job, red plan people.
Yeah, big red plan. Next thing is Minnesota health insurance rates to increase in 2026 by an average of 22% and 14% increase for small group plans. So on top of the county tax, now the Duluth tax, because they raised another extra percent just to cover their costs. The state, who's going to be killing us coming up, we talked about energy costs going up, and now you got the Minnesota health insurance. Who can live like this anymore? Who has enough money to live? If you're trying to start out especially as a college grad or somebody who's 20, 25 years old or just starting out, I don't know how you get through the day without living with your parents at this point.
Right. Yeah. It just, back in the, even I think up to the 50s, you could raise your own kids,
Right.
Someone would stay home with the kids, but now you need to have 2 incomes. That's just the way it is.
It seems like it. Yeah. It's pretty tough. And then the problem too is that, if you're young like that and you don't have the money, you put stuff on credit card. Now you're paying 22% interest a year on that. You're just sinking deeper into debt. And hopefully people have hope and we can get some legislators in place that can get some businesses into the state, stop the drain that we're having right now. But we've got to do the hard stuff, which is figure out the programs that aren't necessary and cut those. Keep the programs that are necessary and secure those. But we need to do things in Duluth, like get the Lester Park thing going. We've talked about this many times. Get that hotel. Hey, Duluth City Council, get off your butts and get that guy in here. We're estimating like $2 to $3 million a year in revenue from that. Plus having a bookend on the east end of Duluth and having a hotel destination where people can go, and housing. It had the whole package. And they don't do that. What they want to do is flood us with housing, flood us with people that live here, and not be able to pay for anything then. Because,
how can they not pay for anything? Because they're collecting all this money. There's so many social programs that they can't even pay for that anymore.
Right. It's going to be an uncomfortable conversation to ask, what do you actually need? And I don't think they're going to come up with a very good answer, because what they think we need is they're trying to tell us what we need as opposed to listening to what we need. We need to be able to live and feel like we don't have to work 24/7 just to pay somebody else for the privilege of living. So,
well, I mean, we discussed it earlier in the show. Is the states people are leaving the state? They're tired of it.
Absolutely,
everything's going up, and their representatives aren't doing anything. So,
well, let's. We had a swing and a miss. You know, I want to say this: Trump swung for the fences. You got to admire him. He asked the Somali president if he'd like to take back Ilhan Omar. And he said, no, thanks. It's your problem now.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it would be nice if she would just go back. She doesn't like America. She thinks we're all racist and horrible people, but doesn't seem to want to leave.
Well, I heard some pretty horrific things about her family in Somalia. And until I verify that, I can't really talk too much about it. But it sounds like if she went back, it would be a death sentence for her.
Well, they deposed her family, I believe. Her family was in power.
Yes.
And she was fleeing her country because they overthrew the government because they were horrible. They were the horrible
people.
government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So naturally, she came here, and we decided, I guess, in a certain part of the city to say, yeah, she should represent us in nationally. Absolutely. I think I have mugshots from her too. I think she got arrested for something. I'll have to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
This is before she became powerful. And just to stay on the Somali topic, you hate to see it when a Minnesota boy gets caught up in something like this, but Abdasar Ahmed Hassan from Minnesota tried to go to Somalia to join ISIS.
I think that's a Finnish name, isn't it?
I didn't say it right then. Abdasar Ahmed Hassan. That's too long. I mean, British people wouldn't stand up for that. That's just too much talking.
Yeah.
That's why it's Ayla and Ila.
Well, why, if he wants to join ISIS, why are we arresting him? Why don't we just take away his American citizenship and send him over there?
Yeah, I guess we just don't want him coming back. But yet, I don't. How about both? How about we put him in jail, and then when we're done with him, when he's done serving his sentence, then we do that.
Yes. If
Slap a big old USA flag on him. Put the Trump 47 hat and put him off into Somalia and let him hang around.
Yep.
I want to see about this article that you put on here. I hadn't seen this before. It says Minneapolis launches pilot program with cameras to catch speeding.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because they put up 5 cameras. Everybody knows where the cameras are, so that no one's going to speed in that area because they know where the cameras are. But I found that Minneapolis had the red light cameras back in 2005, but the Minnesota Supreme Court ruled 2 years later that it violated state laws because you were ticketing the car, not the driver.
Correct. I remember when that happened.
Yeah. So what's the difference? It wasn't legal then. It's not legal now. Why isn't why don't we have a district, an attorney general in the state that's going to put a stop to illegal stuff like this before it even gets to the Supreme Court?
It's a great question. I mean, it's clearly been ruled unconstitutional, but let's do it again and keep doing it until we get the right people in place so that we can get it through.
Yeah. I thought it was just one of those stupid things that we've already declared it illegal. Why are we doing it again? Kind of story.
I agree. It seems stupid. Like you said, I remember when that got shot down. You can't ticket a vehicle. You have to ticket a person.
Yeah.
Now they've hamstrung the cops so they can't chase you if you're speeding or if you try to run away. They can't arrest you if you have a clear violation of something inside your car that they can see through the window, like a gun or drugs. But this is how you get money out of law-abiding people. It's the people that, like you and me, who drive, that may go through that or speed or go through a light. They'll ticket you because they know they're going to get their money. You know, they don't go against the criminals because they don't get any money out of them. So, you know, why take them, right?
Well, hopefully it turns into a British thing and people down there take care of it so they don't work.
I would like to see that, actually.
Yeah. It's like tampon Tim Walls's bathroom, tampons for boys in the boys' bathroom. They had an average lifespan of 28 hours.
Who could see that coming? High school boys tearing something like that off the wall. I'm shocked.
Right.
It's almost like Tim doesn't understand young men at all.
I could kind of see that. Yeah.
All right. Off to national news. See, I'm humming through this thing. We're not even in an hour and we're already in national news. Government shutdown. The federal government is shut down, apparently. I say that because I haven't noticed it, but I don't interact with the federal government very often. Sucks for the workers. They're not getting paid, but there are a lot of them still have to work, but they don't get their pay until it's over. The interesting thing about this, and I've heard this, well, a couple of interesting things. Number one, Trump just keeps trolling this guy with a sombrero and the mustache, and it's getting funnier and funnier as I watch it. And the interesting thing about that was what Trump said is the Democrats live off fear, anger, and hate. So if they're laughing, it's very hard to get their message across. And I think that's a great point. So the other thing is that this is all because there's a hard line that the Republicans won't cross. And I take my hat off to them as well on the national level, because the Democrats want to fund a massive amount of money to have illegal aliens get free health care. And the Republicans say that is a non-starter. Yeah. That should be clear with this last election. That's a non-starter. And the Democrats are so desperate to get that in, they will not compromise on that issue. And if that's the way it's going to be, if this is a government shutdown because we don't have illegals on the healthcare system, I think it's a valid fight. I don't think I don't think giving into that is a good idea at all.
No, it's a horrible idea. Why, you're encouraging people to break the law is what it boils down to.
It's legalized illegal activity. I don't even know how to process that.
Right. And then they just gave Trump a lot more power by shutting the government down. So
that is interesting too, isn't it?
They're just losing every aspect of this fight. So the whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's very confusing to me. But as Trump said, he's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just MAGA and they don't want to admit it because, they just want this to actually happen for me to do all this stuff. So they're letting the shutdown happen. So I'll do it, but they don't have to take blame for it.
Right.
Could be. I'll go on to the next story, which is the woman who tried to shoot and kill Gerald Ford has died. And I thought it was very interesting. I'm going to just play a little bit of this clip just to see what she had to say about this.
Is that everybody was talking. Is that.
I'm going to back it up here.
Well, everybody asks that. And the thing is that everybody was talking about it. They say, where did you get the idea? I don't know about the rest of the country, but in San Francisco, people were saying this all the time. Number one, we elect our presidents, we don't appoint them. And Gerald Ford was appointed, and he was appointed by a crook, if you will pardon the expression. So it wasn't a unique feeling. It was partly that there were other people who had talked about it, who I thought were much more important to what we were thinking of as the revolution, and we really truly thought there was going to be one. And I thought somebody like me, I was a nobody, it would be better coming from somebody like me and not destroying these people who I felt were leaders. And if they did this, it would destroy their leadership.
It's telling in that it's very similar to today.
Right.
She's saying some of the same words. He was appointed, not elected. Well, he was elected because he was a vice president on the presidential ticket, and he succeeded. He wasn't appointed by Richard Nixon. He succeeded him because Richard Nixon resigned. It's a whole structure, but she's clearly not very bright. And her whole reasoning is, well, everybody was talking about doing it, which is what's happening today and what we've been talking about. The Democrats have been talking about this, trying to set it up as normalizing this kind of behavior. And she's like one of the people that they can get to do this stuff.
Right.
It's kind of scary to hear that. Yeah, everybody was talking about it, so I thought I'd do it. I didn't want the leaders to get in trouble.
She didn't look like she was in jail attire, though.
She was let go. She had been sentenced to prison for life, but she was let go like 20 years ago. It's just, you don't pay any prices when you're a Democrat.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like this story. ICE has arrested an illegal alien who was, oh wait, did they arrest him? Yeah, arrested.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll share it here.
Because he fled.
An illegal alien employed as the Iowa superintendent. He didn't provide any proof of legal citizenship, and they still let him into this job. Now, what were his qualifications? I don't know. Why would you let this guy with clear illegal alien? He's an illegal alien. He can't have the qualifications necessary to do this job.
Well, they claim they use an outside third party to vet him, and obviously, and now they are suing that vetting company because obviously they were way off.
I got an idea. Like the Duluth City Council with their 39 committees. Start doing your own job.
Yeah.
Do the job you're hired to do. Stop outsourcing everything that's hard. This is your job. Vet these people. I'm not saying you can't use an outside agency, but you got to do your own due diligence too. Just don't take their word for it. It's laziness more than anything.
Yeah, and he fled cops, and they found him in the woods with 2 guns, and the story gets stranger the more you get into it. So it's like,
it's not shocking that he would do that given his, record. It's shocking that they were even in a position where he was in the place to be a superintendent.
Right.
I want to put, I just have so many fun things to show today. New York Post from 2024. FBI had 26 informants at the January 6th Capitol riots. 2024. Oh shoot! I just closed the wrong tab. Let me open the second tab, because remember it was 26 here, and oh shoot, I don't have it now. It was actually 275.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I had the same link posted twice, so that was a problem. But yeah, last year 24, this year 275. What were they doing there? Who were the ones that were escorting? Who were opening the doors? The police were opening the doors at the Capitol. Who were breaking the windows? Who were telling people to get inside? 275 FBI agents. If they were doing their job, they would have been trying to calm everybody down. But it didn't happen, did it?
No.
So what's going on? What were they doing there? What was their job there? Was it to calm people down, or was it to make sure that this happened so they could charge Donald Trump with insurrection so he could never run for president again?
Yeah, and that's why. So then you go back to Nancy Pelosi, who didn't allow the National Guard to come help.
Right.
So can you tie these 275 back to her? Was she the one telling them to incite a riot?
Or did she know about it and was okay with it?
Yeah. And that's why she didn't send the National Guard in to protect things.
Oh, I have a real, so if you go down the thought that she knew what was going to happen and she wanted it to happen, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Trump offers National Guard, she refuses them. She doesn't beef up the security that day. Then you see these guys opening the doors, letting people in, escorting people through the building. I mean, that guy that wore the horns with the paint on his face.
Yeah.
You watch videos, he has 3 or 4 guys with him the whole time, basically opening doors and showing them where to go. Now, it's either an insurrection or it's not. If it's an insurrection, these guys are coming in, burning stuff down. You know, the cops are running for their lives or they're trying to fight them, but that didn't happen.
No.
This is a stage. You're watching a show. It's not even a very well written one.
So if they're going to take over the U.S. government, they didn't bring a single gun.
Right.
They didn't stop and ask a single demand.
There was no leader. There was no plan.
Right. There was no end game. There was no, this is what we want. None of that.
You'd have to be the stupidest person in the world to think you're going to walk into the U.S. Capitol if they didn't want you there.
Right.
And think you're going to get out alive. Honestly. A lot of these people were rummaging around, just walking around because, hey, you know what? It's the people's house. They're supposed to be able to do that. It's our property, not just the rich and famous.
Yeah, we need to get rid of the word insurrection because it doesn't work in this situation.
Oh, they've been pushing it though from the beginning because they keep saying it. It's not. At best, it was a riot.
Yeah, at best, it was an unauthorized viewing of the.
Yeah, well, you know, if you call it a riot, if it's like damage and destruction, but there wasn't really much of that.
No.
It really was just people walking into a place that they didn't want them. Trespassing. I think that would be probably the thing you could say if they're not supposed to be there.
Right.
So I got to play this because I just love this woman so much. Ready?
Yep.
Closest election for president of the United States in the 21st century.
Wow, I know that's right. But Howard grad did that here.
And a Howard grad did.
My God, these people are insufferable. So then you go take a look, and you look, you know, in the year 2000, Bush won with a 0.5% popular vote, and won with 271 to 266 electoral votes. Kamala Harris, Trump won with 312 to 226 electoral votes, and Trump won the popular vote by 1.5%. So now you go and say, look, that's all well and good, but Bush and Gore was year 2000, and that's technically
right,
not the 21st century. Okay. Trump beat Clinton 304 to 227 as opposed to 312 to 226. That's the electoral vote, which is the vote that matters, by the way.
Correct.
And Clinton won the popular vote by 2.1%. So he actually lost the popular vote to Clinton, still won the electoral vote. I don't know how you can say that her losing by 1.5% of the popular vote, if that's what she's going on, how does she think that's closer? I mean, Clinton beat him with the popular vote. She's well above him. Harris was still below him. So none of the math works out, electoral or popular, even if you exclude the 2000 election, which was won by like 500 votes.
Right.
So she's the gift that just keeps on giving, though.
Well, she's so used to the mainstream media not fact checking her that she can spout off any lies. And
said it in 3 places. I think she was on The View. None of them said anything about it.
No.
Wouldn't they have just like, wait, what about, I thought this was this. She would have something to back it up. But no, it's just says it.
They're not going to follow up question her. They've lost all credibility. The mainstream media has zero credibility. So you have to fact check the fact checkers, basically.
Oh yeah,
it's sad.
I'm gonna do. This is something that kind of concerns me a little bit. No, it concerns me a lot.
Yeah.
An armed New York Police Department detective snuck past Secret Service in the Ryder Cup while pretending to be part of Donald Trump's security detail. So an armed person was able to sneak past Secret Service. Do your job. We can't lose this guy.
Right.
My God.
I mean, just think of all the assassination attempts we don't hear about.
Oh, I know. Or the things that fell apart before they even showed out.
Right.
It's scary. Speaking of scary, I'm going to show everybody that's watching what you should be afraid of with public officials.
Well, your votes matter.
I'm not going to play the video, but it's Illinois governor signed into law a bill that would require Illinois to follow the World Health Organization recommendation on drugs over the FDA. World Health Organization, an unelected, not by us, unelected body, makes laws or recommendations on drugs over the United States FDA, which we do have some say in who's on the FDA by our indirectly through our voting. The state rep, this is this guy here who's arguing against it, and he's basically saying this sucks. We are allowing a foreign organization to determine if our drugs are safe and effective over our own FDA. This is an extremely dangerous bill. The bill passed and was signed into law. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, because the WHO wants to, like if go back to COVID.
Yep.
They want a mandatory mask. They want themselves to control everything, including the president of the United States. They want 100% complete control over everything is their ultimate goal. So if they want to put you in a concentration camp, put a mask on you because that's what the WHO wants.
Yep.
And now some moron in Illinois agrees with them is what it boils down to.
Not just an idiot. Their legislature passed a law and the governor signed it.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
Yep. That's a group of idiots.
That's like the U.S. listening to the UN. It's like UN laws overriding U.S. laws. That doesn't work.
No.
We don't elect you. You don't have a say in how we live our lives. That's just the way it is.
Correct.
I want to show you a little bit about, we're talking about Comey being indicted. They finally got this guy. If he's guilty, I don't know. Innocent until proven guilty. If he's guilty, I hope he goes away in jail for a long time. But let's talk about how the media talks about it. So I'm going to share this little thing here. And listen to this talking head talk.
He is being treated no better or worse than anyone else. This is not selective prosecution, that this is not somebody who's singled out, that he is being treated just like anyone else. That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what the Justice Department is really signaling and messaging here, is that everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally in this country. This is really a great day for America.
This is such a horrendous moment for the rule of law, for the Department of Justice, for the country writ large, being singled out for impermissible reasons. And so just because you did your job, but just because you referred the president or you opened an investigation into the president, those are not legitimate reasons to have a sort of tit for tat vindictive prosecution. This looks like it. The emperor has no clothes. That this is the abuse that it appears to be.
Isn't that funny? It just changes.
Right. And they seem to forget ex-New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who was Trump's lawyer. They sued him for speaking, and he's got a $175 million judgment against him.
They disbarred him too.
Yeah.
They just absolutely ruined the man because he decided to stand up for Trump. They've been
Right.
prosecuting and going after people for 4 years with the Biden administration. That's what they were doing. They
Yeah.
talk about weaponization of the Justice Department. They started it.
Correct.
They are if we followed what they did, you're going to see a lot worse than what's happening right now. They're actually pulling these guys down for actual laws broken, not storming an ex-president's house because he had documents in there that he declassified and was storing in a safe, secure manner. They still raided his house, the ex-president of the United States, to get documents back that he had declassified. Doesn't make any sense. But Comey, it sounds like he's doing a lot of stuff wrong, and we'll see when it comes out in court. But it seems like he's going to have a hard time. Now, just to show just how good a guy Comey is, let's see what he had to say about January 6 people that went walking through the house.
Yeah.
Strategy of focusing on the Oath Keepers and focusing on prosecuting that group of individuals first in order for it to be a deterrent.
You've got to throw the net wide, get all of them, both the organized groups, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, but find everybody who went into that building. Find them all. Again, not because of my concern that those people who committed a misdemeanor they're going to go into the community and reoffend. The message has to be sent of zero tolerance. We will find everyone and punish everyone who went in there so that no one does it again. We will hunt you to the end of the earth, even for a misdemeanor, and make you pay for that to send that message.
Do you agree with the...
What a guy, huh? You American citizens who walked into your Capitol building as a misdemeanor, we will hunt you to the ends of the earth and prosecute you. Well, guess what, Comey? Here it comes. You called down the thunder. You reap the whirlwind, baby.
Yeah, and nobody sent the Secret Service after him at 2 a.m. with guns drawn.
Right.
Call the media and perp walked him out of his house.
Yep. That's what they were doing in the Biden administration all the time.
Yep. That was a pretty common thing for the Biden administration. So
right.
You reap what you sow, buddy.
Exactly. You're getting it, and you shouldn't complain about it because this is what this is your stance. This is how you dealt with people. Get you to the ends of the earth for a misdemeanor. Well, sounds like you did a lot more than a misdemeanor, so congratulations. You're going to get it. And you deserve it, too.
He's earned it.
He's earned it. Yep. Fetterman, my favorite homeless guy who's in government, who put on his best hoodie for this. He's dressing up. He's classing it up. Every American should be able to use paper currency. Absolutely agree with you, buddy. Yeah. You and me are on the same page with that. You get rid of paper currency, you are now a slave to the state. It's over after that. It's so easy to control everything you do if you take away people's paper currency.
Yeah, I mean, who's really pushing it? Well, the banks, like we talked about.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get a 1.5% cut of everything. There's the largest house in Monte Carlo, the richest country in the world. The largest house was owned by the guy from American Express.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a cut. Now they're getting a cut on everything. And now they can, they can locate you. They can find you. They can do anything they want.
Yep. And they can also limit what you can buy, where you can buy it, when you can buy it. They already showed this with Visa. I think it was Visa or MasterCard. One of those guys was like, we're not allowing you to buy guns anymore with our credit cards.
Right. Well, what about the Canadian protesters? The corrupt president up there, he just canceled everyone's access to funds.
To their own money.
To their own money, yeah.
That wasn't even credit. That was their own money in the bank they couldn't get. And that's what the problem is with digital currency. That's how easy it is to control it. Electricity plus digital currency means you are powerless to do anything.
Correct.
It's easy to control electricity. It's easy to control digital.
Yep.
All right. I want to move on to, but we're doing pretty good tonight, Dave.
Well,
the ADL.
We were told to be under an hour, so we're not doing so well, I guess.
I didn't say under an hour. I'm just saying that if people want to go to watch that other thing, they can do that. And they can come back. I mean, we're going to be posting this. The ADL said they put on Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA as an extremist hate group. So they had this list where they always they list out all these what they call extremist hate groups. And it was basically everybody and your grandma was on this list. It didn't matter. I mean, anybody was on the ADL's list. So when something happened when they put the Turning Point USA on there, though, the next, I think, day or two after, I see this post. The ADL has announced it's ending its entire glossary of extremism. So there must have been some backlash or something to that, but putting Turning Point USA on it was not the best idea.
The ADL must be getting federal money or something.
It could be
US aid money and
USAID.
Yep.
Well, it kind of rolls into this next one. Stay on topic here. I thought this was incredibly interesting that the Department of Homeland Security has awarded $94 million in grants to help protect 512 Jewish faith-based organizations from targeted violence and terrorism. Now, on the surface, I don't mind helping these organizations out if they need it. 94 million seems like a lot. It's not the Jewish-based organizations that I've been seeing getting attacked, though. It wasn't a synagogue that got attacked in Minneapolis. It wasn't one that got attacked down in Georgia. So it just begs the question, why? Why is this happening? These are private organizations, right? They should be taking care of themselves.
Correct.
If coordinated terrorist attacks, I can see where the Department of Homeland Security is involved, but why are they giving them grants? What is the grant for? What do they get out of it? And
we're not. The government isn't supposed to be picking and choosing winners or losers. So
exactly. So where is the $94 million for the Catholic schools, for the Christian schools? They seem to be under attack quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. It's like one faith seems to get to win all the money from our government. I don't understand it. So I don't know if it gets me into trouble or not, but it makes no sense to me.
Well, if someone can afford lobbyists to grease the palms of their politicians, and that's who gets paid. Squeaky wheel. So.
And then speaking of money going everywhere, I will try to bring this up as fast as I can. American First League uncovered millions in taxpayer dollars funneled by the Biden administration to Washington University to embed illegal discrimination into medicine. Scariest thing possible. Scariest. You know, it doesn't matter what or who you are. It matters that you can do your job, especially when it comes to being a doctor.
Right.
If you can't, we got big problems. So $5 million to run nationwide neurosurgeon research career development program that mandates DEI, builds a pipeline program to recruit based on identity, and embeds diversity into selection, mentoring, and leadership. $3.4 million to increase DEI in Alzheimer's research. $2.6 million for multi-level school integration for LGBTQ youth. I go down the list here. It adds up to about $20 million, I think, just in this list. And people were getting on Charlie Kirk about this, and they're complaining about him, saying he's racist because what he said was, if you see say a black pilot or something, because of DEI, you have to wonder, are they qualified to do this, or is just the DEI program? And that's terribly insulting to the pilot and to us having to think that way. Whereas if I saw a pilot 20 years ago who was a black guy, it was the black guy who was a pilot. And I knew he had gone through the system and structure and knew what he was doing. So I never had any thought. Same for doctors, same for lawyers. It's horrible. I can't imagine being a black person and having to deal with that. Thinking, I did all the work. I'm really bright. I got all the degrees. I know what I'm doing. But you're going to doubt that I can do this, aren't you? You're going to make a snickering comment or something like that, maybe.
Right.
it's really, really, I think, a lot worse than outright racism, where you can just, somebody is just obviously racist. You know, they're not making any, you know, hidden, they're not hiding it. They're not trying to be coy about it. That is just horribly racist to me.
Yeah, DEI is completely racist, and that, like you said, that's how Democrats think, and this is the unqualified events that lead up to DEI. This is what's going to happen, because you're not thinking it through. They think short term. They think, oh, this is going to be a great process, but this is the unintended consequence of DEI. People have to second guess, which is more racist than originally.
Right. And I don't want to. I want to go to my doctor's office, just know they're qualified.
Correct.
And not wonder. And what you said is very interesting too, because I was listening to Kamala Harris talk about picking a vice president, and she wanted Pete Buttigieg for whatever reason. I think he's completely unqualified. I think it's a horrible choice, but she wanted to pick him, but she wouldn't because he's gay. And she said, well, with a black woman as president and having a gay vice president would be just a bridge too far. So what you're saying is he didn't get picked because he's gay, and that's not discrimination, right? I mean,
that's complete discrimination.
You support him or not? It's
is he qualified or not?
Exactly. And if he's qualified, pick him.
Yeah. You picked Walz and he wasn't qualified.
Exactly. Yeah.
As a man, as a, anything.
Anything.
He's not even though he has the jazz hands, doesn't mean he's a good dancer.
That's true. He does know how to work on a truck, apparently, though.
Yeah, apparently.
Next is Philadelphia. Flies the flag of a foreign adversary. So I was talking about other stuff before. I don't understand this. Why in God's name is a U.S. city flying a communist flag in the city of Philadelphia, no less?
Yeah.
Well, the original 13. I mean, my God. Talk about somebody's been bought and sold in that city and state. Holy cow.
Yeah, who's going to lose their job over that one? Nobody.
No, there was people saying you shouldn't be doing this well before it happened, and they still did it. Somebody's not losing their job. Somebody's getting a sweetheart deal somehow.
Right. I'd look into see what Tim Walz has to do with it, because he was over at China 30 plus times. And
right. Did his little bus show up there beforehand? Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if Minnesota has the communist flag flying in it at some point in Minneapolis.
There's definitely it flying in his house. I can tell
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The next one I saw, I was going to put on, but I'll put on. Ice Cube got his tour bus firebombed because it has the word ice on it. And so people thought it was the ICE agency. That's perfect.
Yeah, you want to question how stupid they are. No, you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. They gave it away.
As a nice prelude to the next story, speaking of, Joy Reid, when my mother came from Guyana, she realized it's not the land of opportunity for people like us. She made $3 million a year. I don't make $3 million a year. Where's my privilege?
Yeah,
I mean, we're basically doing the same job she did. Guyana's average salary is $5,200. But this isn't the land of opportunity for people like her. We discriminate against people like her, apparently. She just gets a cushy job on a network and gets overpaid millions of dollars to spout nonsense.
What would they say? You can't fix stupid?
That's right. All right. International news. A British man was sentenced to 2 years in prison for a Facebook comment. And I'm going to read what he had to say. And you listen to this and tell me if you think this is enough to put somebody in jail. He was responding to somebody because over here, they're given the life of Riley. off the taxes of us hardworking people earn, when it could be put to better use. Come over here with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and DOS. And then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing. That got him 2 years. It's ridiculous. Oh, and he added, I don't want my money going to immigrants who rape our kids and get priority. This is what they want for America, too. I mean, they were really working on getting it here when Biden had, remember his Ministry of Truth? That flamed out and just failed within a month or two.
Right.
That's what they want here.
Well, you got to remember that Walz put in a social bureau to record what everyone puts on social media.
Yep.
And he said he wasn't going to do anything with it, but he wanted to keep track of it.
Right.
So he's setting the grounds up for such a law to come over here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Walz set up, I saw a video of National Guard walking through the streets of Minnesota, yelling at people to get in their house with guns drawn during the pandemic. Yep. It was, talk about a fascist. You got one right there. He's got all the earmarks of it. He just doesn't want the title. I'm going to post a link here about this woman named La Diabla, who was arrested finally. And I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to show the video because those stuff that she did was so horrible. I'm not comfortable doing it. So if you want to click on the link, I'll put the link down there. But apparently she was arrested finally, and that's really a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of the cocaine cartels down in Mexico are complaining right now about the border being closed. They says it's extremely difficult to get their drugs across.
Right.
So there's a consequence of closing the border is less people dying due to cocaine overdose, and getting rid of people like herself is a huge deal. So
yeah. I'm going to post another link here. Canada is forcing all Canadians to hand in their guns. They have 1 year. And so they're calling it a voluntary buyback program. So I've got a video here and it's too long for me to play, but they say to this guy who, I don't even know how he got his job, but they say, how is it voluntary if after a year they're illegal? And then he went and reiterated what the policy was. He didn't answer the question. He just reiterated the policy. And he does it 2 or 3 times. He never answers a question. He just deflects it. So Canada, you're following the UK really closely. It's going to be really tough there pretty soon.
Yeah, close your social media accounts now because you're going to go to jail for them.
Oh yeah.
As soon as they get their opportunity, as soon as they get your gun away from you.
Yeah, and good luck. Good luck protecting yourself. One more thing for international news, if you're planning on going over there. Public service announcement coming up.
Can't hear him.
Really?
No.
Let me do it on a different tab here. That.
I think it was his hair dye killing the sound.
He's got a smart looking hair dye going.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Try this one.
If you're planning a trip to Europe, you're going to have to hand over way more than your passport when you get there. As part of a new entry-exit system, visitors to most European countries will have to provide 4 fingerprints and a facial photo at a self-operated kiosk. The information will be stored for 3 years, with the photo being used for ID verification on later visits. Travelers who refuse to provide their biometric data will be denied entry. The goal of the program is to enhance security and speed up border crossings, it is said. The new system is set to be rolled out over 6 months, starting in October, and applies to 29 countries, including popular destinations like France, Italy, and Spain. If you're planning a trip.
So there you go. Digital ID, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
You as a U.S. citizen have no rights because it's another country. So and it's, again, just as like Wallace's thing, we're not going to keep it. Oh, we're not going to, store it or anything. We're just going to have it.
Yeah.
And we'll get rid of it. Pinky swear. They're not getting rid of it.
Right.
All right. Hey, we did it. We went through the entire list and we're still under time when we usually do it. So I'm going to get down to health and fitness now for the last thing. And I wanted to start out this because we talked about, flexing your mind as well as your body. So I wanted to talk about a word of the day. So let's do a word of the day here. And it's, and I hope I don't butcher this because it's a Latin word, vociferous. It's meaning to express your feelings or opinions loudly and insistently. The term describes individuals or group who loudly support or oppose something, such as vociferous complaints or vociferous support. The word originates from the Latin verb vociferia, combining vox, which is voice, and fere, to carry, reflecting its core meaning of vocal insistence. So vociferous or vociferious. I don't know how to say it. Vociferous, I'll call it.
Yeah, you should
try to use that today.
Yeah, you should have started with an easier word, like dog.
I like this word so much, though. I can only go up from here.
Yep.
How's the exercise going, Dave? You exercising like I'm exercising?
No, I didn't do a great job this week. Was pretty busy. I finished it up most of it last night, so I'll get back back onto system again, or back onto a regular pattern again, starting tonight and tomorrow night, and so
that sounds good.
So how are you all trained up for grandmas then?
No. But I did go running today.
That's good.
And it was very nice outside. It's nice when you can run and there isn't a bunch of smoke to inhale, and the weather's not freezing cold and there isn't whipping wind. So this is one of those rare days that it was nice to run out there. So I went down the canal and ran down there, and it was nice. It's beautiful down there right now. I think parking is going to be free pretty soon down there too for people who live here.
Okay.
So get down there. They're doing a lot of construction down there by the canal still, so that's not great, but still the lake walk's open. Get down there, walk around while it's still nice out. Lake looks beautiful.
Yeah, looking at the weather report, we're kind of done with nice weather around here. So
yeah,
I think today was one of the last days. So
oh God, don't even say that.
Hey, we got our one day this summer, so now we know exactly what the one day was. No smoke, no rain, no wind off the lake to freeze your butt cheeks off. So.
Well, I hope people that went to watch the show on WDIO will come back and watch the rest of our show, and I hope we provided some help for people today, some things to think about, which is our goal. Anything else to talk about before we go, Jeff? Dave?
Looks like someone's been working too long.
I went for a run today. I'm tired.
No, it wouldn't. Everything else would still take another hour. So
all right.
It's a good thing for next week. So.
All right. So everybody that watched, thank you for watching. If you liked what you heard, let us know, like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, thanks for staying and listening. We'll see you next week. Like and subscribe. Here's a shocker for you. Until next week, I'm Sean.
I'm Dave.
And this has been Duluth Conservative, and we'll see you next week.